you try to get lower light, and then you get too low of a light, one that doesn't show every freaking thing. Because I try to do these, it doesn't look like there's much light, and then once it's up there on the screen, it's just got bright freaking light on it, you know? All right, so I'm doing this for all you peculiar people over there across the world. And I was going to say, okay, Elie Wiesel. I was reading part of his book, just excerpts from his book that he wrote after, he's a Holocaust survivor, and he was writing after that a book, and I'm not sure, can't remember which one it is, and he was saying, how is it possible that in a civilized world like this, there is this kind of evil? And I used to think like that too. And I come from, on one side of the family, some real sweet Scandinavians who were very sincere in faith. But they, I think, they just, I think a lot of times if you are a person of faith, you want to see people, in the best light, and you don't want to see the evil. I think it's partly you can't understand the depths of depravity that you yourself haven't gone to, and like that you would not go to, that you wouldn't choose, and they choose it. And so then you don't, but at the same time, you don't recognize it, because the thing is, the thing is that the evil is definitely with us, it's been with us all along. Human nature's never been, it's never been eradicated, and Christ didn't come to eradicate. But see, what Elie Wiesel was talking about was the same thing that Neusner was talking about, was that the world the world of Europe had become so civilized. It had become so civilized, and he recognized it was because of Christ, and that's true, and it had. So because then a new standard was set, and people were saying, now the best way, is this Christian way. The best way is, to believe in this, and then clean up your life and live this way. And so everybody was agreeing that that was best. But the problem was all the people that they didn't like that. There are people who they resent because they want to go BC, before Christ, but really what they want is not to go before Christ. They want to go before Reformation, 1517, because the truth of Christ and the redemption of Christ didn't really take and change people until after that point where Mr. Luther, he had this epiphany that enabled him to stop seeing God in a real negative light. He started to recognize that God was a good guy, and that God cared about him, and that God's grace was much broader and kinder than he had experienced. And this was absolutely revolutionary. It changed people everywhere. And that's the thing. None of us are an island, so our the things that happen to us, we don't realize how they affect everybody around us. But there are people who they so resent that because, in John 3 in the New Testament, which in no way disagrees with anything in the Old. I mean, I can show you all kind of scriptures. They don't disagree with the Old Testament, with the old book. But it says that they love the darkness and they would not come to the light. And you see stuff about the wicked. Now, years ago, I would read about the wicked, like in Psalms. It talks a lot about the wicked, And I would think, okay, that was in the ancient world. There were the wicked. And we're not done with the wicked now, because like Wiesel, I thought that in the modern world, yes, so much evil had been eradicated, and so many people just agreed with how things should be, and that's how they were living. And it's true, a lot of people did agree with these standards, but a lot of people didn't. But it became even more imperative for them to hide that. And so the art of hiding and the art of deceiving became much greater and much more necessary. It became much greater once we passed that point. Once once more light came. And it's amazing how when some people really progress and they move forward, other people, they move forward, especially in faith. Other people, it's like they move even farther back. But so the art of deception became more important, to hide. But in a way, I think they find it more delicious to be a deceiver. And you see all these great movies, you know. I used to think, a lot of these movies, I used to think they were so creepy, but they're really talking about people like that, you know, like like Hitchcock movies or what, people who are deceptive, film noirs, you know, people who are deceptive, and how they deceive, and you know the hoops they cause people to jump through and everything. And it's because, you know, they feel they have the need more than anything to deceive people, to be deceptive. And I read that by Wiesel, and I thought, you know, I used to think like him too. And the thing is, okay, so God says that we perish for lack of knowledge, perishing not in hell, perishing really talking more about physical perishing. But I think in losses in numerous ways. And he says that, but at the same time, he says, on the other hand, he says, there are things I would tell you, but you would not understand. So we've been suspended between that which we didn't know, and that was harming us, and the fact that we weren't able to know things that we needed to know. God couldn't tell us because we were not able to understand. And Yeshua said, I have many things to tell you, but you cannot bear them. You cannot bear them now. You know, it's not just that you can't understand. And in Habakkuk, God says, I would tell you what I'm doing. You wouldn't believe me. And then Yeshua said, I have many things to tell you. There are many things to tell you, but you can't bear them now. So there's truth. There was truth we were never able to bear. Before the Reformation, there was there was truth people weren't able to let into their minds. But when Martin Luther let that light into him, it enabled other people to do the same. And this is how it is in societies. And God, Adonai, he limits himself to that which humans are and that which humans are capable of. You know what I mean? And even though he could do all kinds of things beyond that, but he so wants us to engage in everything about the truth and about him, and so that we experience it ourselves and then live it out. He doesn't do that for us. He waits for us. Where does it say he says, you will seek me and find me when you look for me with all your heart? You know, thou art a God who hides thyself, O God of Israel, the Savior. All this stuff about God. He's very mysterious. It says in Isaiah 53, right? In Isaiah 53 or 55, that my ways are not, you can't understand my ways. He's mysterious, isn't he? And yet he's wonderfully mysterious, isn't he? So I just wanted to share that with you. And that the knowing that we have needed, myself, I've been, okay? I've had people at the hospital George Floyd went to, they tried to put the mark of the beast on me. When I refused, I was thrown into a vault for the violently mentally ill. I've had straitjackets put on me. I'm telling you what I've experienced because I didn't know the truth. You know? And I suffered for what I didn't know, but I couldn't bear to know the truth. This is this thing. So we often suspended between those two things. But now I think that we're knowing so much more. Isaiah 43 verses 18 and 19, God says, forget the former things. Don't remember the things of old. I do a new thing now. And you have to hang on to that.